Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing News Edition. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. We try and get together at least 2 or 3 times a week just to basically talk boxing, predictions, news, views. Yes, I jumped the gun a little bit on our last video. So yeah, let's just cover off some news and some matches that have been announced. I'm here with Rick. Where do you want to start?
Nick Webb-Wardley, that's been announced for Fight Camp. I think that got announced about a week ago. Not a high-level fight, but could be a good little tear-up. Webb's been, floored by some people he shouldn't. Well, maybe not shouldn't, but he's been floored by certain people. But he had a good win. He looked quite good in his last win. Wardley, bit of an unknown quantity, seems to punch hard, weirdly, but then obviously has some holes in his game, which was found out in his with his last fight. But seems to like be able to probably punch hard in like a cuffing way. The last couple of his wins have been punches didn't really look much, but they seem to make a big impression. And the first time you see that, you might just think it's random, but you've seen it 2 or 3 times from the fight, so it makes you wonder.
Is this a step back down for Fabio Wardley, do you think? Are they putting the brakes on him a little bit? It feels like Eric Molina and then back down to Nick Webb. No disrespect to Nick Webb, of course, but I don't know.
That's what that turns out like. I mean, Molina would have been probably technically better, but probably once you hit him, he's looking for the canvas, isn't he?
Yeah, he falls, but he roughed Fabio Wardley up a little bit. And it looked very uncomfortable for Wardley at times.
Yeah, I think boxing wise it's a step down. Fight wise, not sure, because he might have more go in him. And he does hit hard when he wants to. He might be able to hit harder than Molina. I don't think Molina is a huge puncher, but he can set it up better and he can set traps a bit more crafty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm intrigued. There's not tons of things that are intriguing me about Fight Camp, as we've discussed, but that is one that it's not a mega fight or anything like that, but it'd be one that I'll one of the few fights I'm looking forward to or will be tuning in on.
Yeah. I think I'm looking forward more to Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence, if I'm honest.
I'm not sure about Fight Camp.
Yeah.
Not all the fights out there.
No, yeah. Other fights have been announced. Vergil Ortiz versus Kavaliauskas. It's a good fight, I think. Really good step up for Vergil Ortiz. I think this has really got to be his, if he wins this, and depending on the style in which he wins, they've got to be looking at a world title fight next for him, I would say. He's in and around that mix now.
And who's Kavaliauskas? Is he like gatekeeper to that world level? I don't know much of him.
Yeah, so Kavaliauskas beat Avanesian. And he gave Crawford, a pretty decent fight as well. I can't remember, just trying to remember how that ended now. But Kavaliauskas is kind of a world level gatekeeper. Is probably the best way to describe him. He's top 10. So he'll really test Vergil Ortiz. So I think this is a good step up for him for sure. Yeah, Teofimo Lopez Kambosos has been put off until October, so that's a bit disappointing.
Do we know why?
I don't know. No.
Did we ever get a new date? Was it a new date and then it's been pushed back, or did we get we've just been silence?
It was actually August, but then it got moved. I think it was August the 14th. It was scheduled for, or something like that. And then, and they've now just kind of announced it, I think a couple of days ago, that it's now going to be in October. I don't know. It's just not a great look, is it? Not a great look at all. Yeah, but there we are. Talking of not great looks, Tyson Fury has been spotted in casinos in Las Vegas less than a week after his positive test of COVID. What's your take on that?
Like I said before, I mean, it depends. One thing is that we may have got news way after he tested, and I think it's 14 days from when you get symptoms. I'm not sure. Or it might be different rules in America. So it's hard to fully know. But I think what's interesting is I saw an interview on Boxing Social with his dad. I think his dad only talks to Boxing Social now. Don't really see him speak to him. It's always in like some camper van or something. He's almost like gone into like recluse. He trains his son, and that's about it. He just lives on his own in his camper van. But I just found the whole interview quite. I mean, he's always quite engaging. He does talk some weird stuff, but also I love how honest he is, and it just gives you an insight. And when it comes to kind of Tyson, he just says he's hardly heard from him. He thinks he's got yes men around him, and they're just on his shoulder, and they'll they'll drop him if he ever gets beat. And he just talks. He doesn't sound as confident in his son anymore. He just says, "Oh, if he wins, and I believe he'll win, and if he's in his top game." And I just felt it quite an insightful interview because he was being so honest. Yeah. And just the way he's managed. He was hilarious when he was asked about Deontay Wilder. He just was basically, well, he's thick, isn't he? He's just thick. Because he's an horrible manager. There's horrible accusations. And he was just saying, Tyson just lets this bounce off his chest. He's not bothered, but I'd have been getting him in court. And then he started going about Tommy Fury and all the weight issue with the last fight and how Tommy didn't want it. He'd been pissing around, and then he came to him. He trained for 2 weeks, wanted to go out with Tyson to get some good sparring, came back. He put on loads of weight, wanted to bail out of his last fight. And he just said, "You're not doing that. If you get beat, you get beat." Really? And then he goes, he's still pissing around with all that YouTube stuff and whatnot. He goes, he's still coming to the gym though and working hard. So as long as he's doing that. But I just found it really interesting. He was almost just not slagging his sons off, but he's just saying what he doesn't like about them.
Yeah. It is refreshing though when you have somebody like that. I mean, how boxing trainer interviews, trainer father interviews can sometimes be boring because they're just kind of, I'm sure a lot of them are media trained and they just kind of say the same thing. Camp's going amazing and yada yada yada. And at least he's very unfiltered. Yeah. Do you have any confidence that Fury Wilder 3 actually does happen in October?
Well, it's been officially announced now, isn't it? And the posters are about the 9th. I mean, I think it will. But am I fully confident? I suppose my general confidence levels have dropped in all fights.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder why the hell the Joshua fight hasn't been announced now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, a few weeks ago it was like, well, we're in no rush. It's towards the back end of September. We don't need that amount of time. Well, it's nearly 2 months away.
I wonder if they're going to wait and see what's going to go on with the country because
we know now.
Yeah,
we know, and we've known for a while, to be honest, what's likely. But it was announced on Monday and still nothing. And we're on Friday now.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hold-up is. So it doesn't feel like they were just waiting on that. So I don't know. I'm just getting generally a bit like miffed with it all. But yeah, hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. But yeah, I mean, most of the fights I've got to be quite a question mark on because of COVID and everything. But this one's stopped and go kind of thing. But I think if it doesn't happen in October, it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah. I wonder if Tyson Fury will retire.
Well, I have heard rumours about stuff. I don't know if he's just fed up with it as well.
It'd almost be just criminal if we don't get that fight, if we don't get the Fury AJ. Can you imagine like the build-up? It just feels a little bit like, I don't know, Top Rank and PBC are trying to freeze out DAZN and AJ. They don't seem to be showing any kind of interest in making that fight, which is just incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, if Fury beats Wilder and Joshua wins, actually one thing is that both their fights are now very close in dates, which my one worry was if they fought now and that they'd be out of pattern, but they're literally like it's 2 weeks in it, I think.
Yeah.
So Joshua wins, waits for hopefully if the fight happens, waits for Fury, hopefully Fury wins, even go to the bloody fight, Yeah. And what's the excuse at that point? There'd be absolute, I say, uproar. Not like marches in the street or anything like that, But what are the barriers at that point? Do you know what I mean? It's like Wilder's done. There's no, you could say if it's a dodgy points decision or whatever, but still at that point he's like out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Is there any more news on Dillian White? Dillian White's next fight?
No, I think he's heard the same rubbish of we're thinking of boxing. Maybe I'm watching too many interviews, but I'm trying to space them out like a couple of weeks apart. I just hear the same stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're thinking of this strategy. Okay, well, where's the announcement? You've been saying this for like way over 2 months probably now. I've heard it from Hearn. We'll be boxing around the end of August. You need to be announcing then, don't you?
Yeah.
And it won't up to September. And what annoys me is every time they say we're thinking of this, you might as well add on 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, how long has it been now since he fought Povetkin? A couple of months now, isn't it?
March.
Was it March?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a long time, though, isn't it?
And it's like when Joshua fought last. It was like, when do you want to be out next? April, May, and he went, oh, it might be more like June. Like, really June? Now it's September.
Yeah.
And that's not because of he got led down the garden path a bit, but annoying.
All right.
Because if it had happened when it was meant to happen, everyone was saying like April, May. You know what I mean? If it hadn't have happened then, well, we could be fighting now.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got Takam Joyce this weekend. I saw some sparring footage that was
next weekend, isn't it?
Sorry, yeah, this weekend. Sorry, next week. Yeah, next weekend. He was fighting Babic, just sparring Babic, and just weird spar. Really, it's like Babic was. I think it was in like 4 minutes of 6 rounds. So who knows? But Babic was landing on him, and Joe was even slower than normal. And I don't know if he was just in cruise gear or whatever. And he did his normal thing of like just tapping and not really hitting that hard and throwing the odd hard one in. And he was never rocked by anything, but I thought Babic was catching him at ease.
Yeah, Joyce, does he drop him? I don't think he drops him, does he? I've not seen the footage yet, but I've not heard that.
No one's hurt at all. But there's a couple of times he just punches and it's just clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He takes it, carries on. And he's obviously stronger than him, so he kind of manhandles him around onto the ropes and stuff and that. But you just like if that was just 4 minutes, I think, of the sparring I saw. But it's like if that was the fight, that would be competitive and probably have Babic winning on points. But I admit it's 4 minutes and it's sparring. So.
Yeah, I think Babic is almost kind of tailor-made for like you remember the prize fighter that Sky used to do? Those 3-minute rounds, like knockout tournament. He's always kind of built for that kind of tournament. Wouldn't I guess sort of read too much into that. When is Babic out again? Has he got anything lined up? Because I know they were trying to get him onto fight camp, weren't they?
I think he's in fight camp.
He is.
I think so. I think he might be the same. I think he might be on the same because he was on about fighting Nick Webb as well.
Right.
Pretty sure he's on the. Has he fought recently? He has come back, hasn't he, since his shoulder? Yeah, he fought a while ago. I'm pretty sure he's on fight camp.
Yeah.
Any other do we have any new news? Oh, we've got an announcement for the Leeds fight, haven't we? The rematch.
Yeah, Maurizio Lara versus Josh Warrington is the rematch in Leeds. I'm really worried about Josh Warrington on this one, I must admit. The way that first fight went, I don't really see. I mean, a lot of people made a lot of the crowd factor not being there, and obviously a very different environment for Josh. But I don't know. I don't really see it going differently this time. What do you think?
I'm having a long discussion on this already, haven't we? But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't write him off quite as much as you do. But it's a difficult one. I mean, I think he went into that just thinking this is a tick over. I say tick over. It's still a world title fight, but I don't think he went in smelling much danger, and I do think that can have quite a big impact on you. I think that's what you had a bit with Joshua, and there's been a lot of other boxers fall to that. I do think the crowd will have been a factor. So add those two factors together, and I think he will have a big crowd. He knows he will have danger. He will have trained for danger and be ready, but he can't change his style and start boxing prettier. So he's gonna have to take risks, and they could not pay off because he just got beat to the punch, and this guy can hit hard.
Yeah.
But there is something about being a bit more battle hardened when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Mentally ready for it. But I'm not sure what you can do tactically wise. He may bide his time a bit more, not go in so much for a war. So I think whatever happens, if he could well get beat still, but I think he will last longer and be a bit more ready for it.
Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll do a prediction nearer the time. It'll be interesting to see what they put on the undercard for that one as well. Hopefully it'll be a stacked card.
On that.
Is she?
Taylor's on that. Yeah.
Okay.
If you were living in Manchester and not London, that'd be a good one just to nip over to.
Yeah, it would actually. It's at Headingley, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Leeds. Yeah.
All right, then. I think that is it. The other one I picked up on actually was David Benavidez has been ordered to fight Jose Uzcategui for the super middleweight. That's WBC eliminator. I don't know if it's a final eliminator, but I would be willing to bet that the winner of that will be elevated to mandatory challenger to Canelo, which is fascinating actually, because I would obviously back, provided Benavidez is dedicated. I'd back him to win that, and potentially you're looking at Benavidez versus Canelo next year, which I think a dedicated bid Benavidez he's got to be one of the bigger threats I think to Canelo, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see. That's another one to look forward to. I think that's back end of August.
Rightio.
All right, let's wrap it up. We'll do a review of Castano versus Jamel Charlo, and then any other news that comes up. Thanks everybody for listening.